Hey everyone, it's Steve Harris at MuseThemes.com. Recently, we've been chatting with designers who are new to the web. Let's say they're print designers and their clients are looking to build websites and they finally decided that they feel comfortable designing a website using Muse. One of the biggest obstacles for them is setting up things like hosting and domains. It can be a little bit intimidating at first because you have to change various settings on the hosting and domain provider sites. The good part about this is once you've done it for one client, it'll be virtually the same for all of the rest of your clients in your career. Now, with that said, we're going to do a series of training videos explaining how to work with hosting accounts and how to set them up, all using Adobe Muse. So to get started here, I have an Adobe Muse website based on one of our templates. So let's assume in this scenario, your client has no existing website and no existing domain name or URL, and they want you to set up everything fresh. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we want to start sending them proofs, or we want them to start reviewing the site as we're working on it. Well, if you haven't set up a hosting account already, this is pretty tough to do because you have nowhere to place the files for them to see it. So when you're in Muse, the best thing for you to do in this scenario is once you've got your site somewhat ready to go or you've got a draft, go up to the Publish button and just click on it. And it comes up with this box that says Publish to Business Catalyst. You can put in a site name and there's some options. So if you don't have an existing site going, your box is going to look like this. It's kind of brand new and saying you're just a click away from previewing your site on the internet. So what this is going to do is publish up a temporary Business Catalyst site. And you can use this link to send to your clients so they can proof your website. You'll receive a large amount of these temporary sites, I think up to 100, so you can go ahead and use this for all your clients. So for the purpose of this demo, let's just enter something like hosting setup, and what it will do is link up this temporary site to hostingsetup.businesscatalyst.com, and it's a new site. You don't really need to change any of these options. So let's click OK. So what Muse is going to do is it's going to generate all of the assets for your website, and it's going to create this temporary Business Catalyst site and upload it to the web. Okay, so now that our website appears here in the browser, Muse launches the site right away. You can see that this is actually a live website. It has this hostingsetup.businesscatalyst.com address, and you can now send this link to your client so that they can go ahead and preview the site. You can then re-upload those files by just continuing to publish out in Muse, and this domain or this site is going to update for your clients to see throughout the project. So let's assume now that they've previewed the site, they love the look of it, and they want you to go ahead and get your hosting and everything else set up. So the first thing you'll need to do is buy your website a home. And I always compare a home to hosting. It's where your website is basically going to live. It's where you're going to put the files. And once the files live there, you're going to give it an address, which is the domain name or the URL. So there's various ways you can set up hosting using Muse. You can host on Business Catalyst, which is kind of the system that this temporary site uses. However, I'll talk about that in another video because you actually do receive 5 free hosting accounts through Business Catalyst if you're a Creative Cloud member. So let's say you don't want to use Business Catalyst and we want to set up new hosting. You would go to a provider like GoDaddy, for example. So let's go to GoDaddy.com. And then GoDaddy is one of the biggest hosting and domain name providers. So the first thing you're going to do is enter a domain name. Now, this would allow you to set up both your domain and hosting at the same time, which is a great idea. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to set up the hosting component. So if I click on hosting and SSL, and under hosting, we have web hosting, and it says it's on sale. So let's click on that. So you can see right now that it starts at $3.99 a month. So we'll just click Get Started. Okay, so it says customize your web hosting plan. So the economy hosting plan allows you to host one website, which is fine if you have a client who just has one website. You can also do a deluxe hosting plan, which allows you to host multiple websites. Now, this is an interesting thing because if you're a web designer and you have many clients who are going to need to be hosting many sites, one thing you might want to consider is purchasing your business or yourself one of these deluxe plans and actually hosting all of your clients' websites for them on this single plan. So this would allow you to potentially generate some revenue for your business by charging your clients hosting fees. You could also use this deluxe plan if you're like me and you have 100 different temporary websites that you're using on any basis and you don't want to have separate hosting accounts for all of them. So for the purpose of this demo, let's just click the economy hosting plan. We can select our term here. Let's just go 12 months at $3.99 a month. And now it says to choose an operating system. Now this one confuses users who are new to the web, but one thing that you'll notice that you only have two options here, Linux and Windows, and they come with these different control panels. For 90% of the websites out there, I would recommend you use a Linux operating system. Windows is great if you're using certain types of web technology like ASP. However, the majority of them will use Linux. So let's just leave that set at Linux. We have some other options for adding an SSL certificate, which you would need if you were doing, say, an e-commerce site which needed protection. We'll just leave that off for now. This is going to be a basic website. And let's just click continue. So now it asks you if you want to register a free domain name. So for the purpose of this demo, I won't bother, but you'll probably want to take advantage of that and enter the domain or the address you want to use for your client site. So I don't want to register a free domain name. So that's basically it as far as hosting setup is concerned. It's already in the cart here, and all we have to do from this point on is just proceed to checkout, pay, and our hosting account is completely set up. The only thing too I want to mention about this is where it says promo code, any web host out there usually has promo codes out on the web. So if you just type in GoDaddy promo code, I almost guarantee you'll find something out there. Let's see. So here you go. There's a domain for $1.49 or 40% off your first year, something like that. So always have a look for promo codes as they're pretty popular for hosting plans. So that's it as far as setting up something on GoDaddy is concerned. Now you could use a different provider. One of the biggest ones in the web design world is Media Temple. So let's just go to MediaTemple.net. Media Temple is a little bit more expensive than GoDaddy, but it's considered a little bit more professional for people who are hosting things like blogs and designer sites and that sort of thing. So you can see that there are various plans here, and you're likely going to just use the web hosting plan. So we'll click Learn More. And then we can add it to the cart. It's $20 a month, and it allows you to host up to 100 websites. So this would be more comparable to the economy plan that you're looking at on GoDaddy. So let's just add that to the cart. And you're going to go through a similar setup process like you did on GoDaddy. It will allow you to register a new domain, or you can kind of link up an existing domain. Let's say your client already had one, or you can just go ahead and buy the domain later and skip this step. So there are a ton of hosting providers out there on the web, and they'll all try and hit you with these add-ons, things like security and site mover. And, personally, I never add very many of those on, but you can certainly go ahead and do so if you need to. So this is kind of a basic setup overview of how to get your hosting going. But let's take a look at how to host on Business Catalyst, because you do actually get 5 free sites that way. Thanks again for watching, and check out our next video.